I started in Jiu-jitsu when I was 5 years old. The plans that I've set from the beginning, they're very high.
He was a dreamer, like he was a kid that wanted to be a professional athlete.
I want to be one day like world champion and see like people watching me and people saying like, oh, I want to be like him. Of course, I knew who the Mendes brothers were. It's like, man, this is where I should be. This is where I have to be.
He was like a little brother or like a son to me.
In a couple years, like we're gonna be on top of the other tournaments.
For me, it was always black belt mentality since day one. He started like destroying everybody.
I don't do nothing else. My mind's just on jiu-jitsu. I'm just gonna keep working like every belt till I get like black belts and accomplish my goals.
When you're dealing with those hard moments, it's when you really get to know yourself. You see that you're leading this race, now you're not leading anymore.
Can't have like a perfect life where everything goes right like all the time. I don't like to watch them losing, but I like the transformation that the hard times bring.
Well, if they're expecting me to come back in 6 months, I'm gonna show that I can come back in 2.
He was a completely different person. Like, it was incredible to watch.
You told me that I was gonna be the next black belt world champion.
I know that he's not even close to where he's going to be in the future.
If I got this far, I can go even farther. I don't even feel like I'm on my prime yet.
Oh, I'm only warming up. This is just the beginning.
Right now it's 5 a.m. and I just got up 4:45. I get everything ready. I bring everything downstairs. I'm packing all my gifts for the day. Usually I leave around like 5:30 from the house, and I gotta have everything with me because I only come back around, noon or 1 p.m. Feels good. Feels good to be awake and doing, my first 2-3 sessions a day is while everybody's sleeping. So, feels like it puts your head. The people that are there now early in the morning are the ones that are really chasing after, and nothing comes really easy in this life, and if it does come easy, it's not worth it. Meg, let's go champ. This is another one of my sons. He comes to my house and then we drive to the gym. Tell how old you are, about
12 years old. I'm an orange and black belt. Train every day at AOJ.
This is another one that I said, it's just like, he's 12 years old, he's training like 5-6 times a day, getting up 5 a.m. So like, there's no way this is gonna go wrong. We started as a 12 people group, and I grew into like 70 and 80 people sometimes. I took over that class after the pandemic, so it just like kind of like became the new thing in the academy, like kind of like a new culture where everybody gets up in the morning, everybody wants to be there. I have no problem sacrificing my sleep in the morning. I enjoy doing it. So look at all these cars, they're all students. 5 a.m. coming to train. Fala, filho. Tem uma câmera aí pra você, ó. Vamos aí. Go introduce yourself.
My name's Icaro, I'm Tainan's son. He calls me his son.
We start early, we go all day, and we're always switching between training and teaching. Guys, line up. So it's fun for me. Good morning, guys. Go ahead, about. Start jogging. My name is Tainan Dalpra. I'm a 2-time black belt world champion. I'm from Brazil, currently living in California, and I train under the Mendes brothers Art of Jiu-Jitsu. I feel like a big part of my work ethic, I get it from my parents. From just like growing up and seeing what hard work really is. They work until this day from 7 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m. at night, all day from Monday to Saturday. I feel like they kind of wanted to push me into a sport where I could get out of that. I started in Jiu-jitsu when I was 5 years old by the influence of my dad. When I started, he was already a blue belt. He had trained for about a year and two.
Eu tenho uma história lá em Florianópolis que eu participo da Federação de Jiu-Jitsu. Já fui fundador, presidente da Federação de MMA. A ideia era levar ele junto para deixar ele ali, correr, estar junto comigo. Mas eu fui notando que ele foi gostando bastante e o passar do tempo ali ele começou a se interessar pela área da competição.
Growing into the academy, I was just really the only kid training, and my first competition was within 2 weeks of training. There was nobody in my division, so I had to move up into a division where I fought a yellow belt. I didn't get submitted, and my dad was super happy about that. I was driven because of my dad, I just wanted to get that approval, really. When I turned 9, 10 is when everything switched for me. I started seeing more how much I could work and how good I could get. I would go to a local tournament every weekend or so. I would go and compete and win. Then I started going to different tournaments more outside of my city, where I would go to São Paulo or Rio to compete. I would always be the type of person that would win local tournaments and would go to big tournaments and end up losing like second, third, fourth match, finals. Coming from a small city, I felt like that small accomplishment of like third place, second place, or even going to the tournament, everybody in my academy would be so happy for it. I don't know, I didn't feel like that was right because I knew I could be much better than what I was. I felt like I was missing something.
E aí onde surgiu a ideia da América, de vir para a América, né, ver como é que é. A gente sabia que tinha um Pan Kids, que era o principal evento. A gente veio e competiu, a gente foi gratificado pelo título, que ele foi campeão nesse primeiro ano. E chegando aqui, eu comecei a olhar a grandiosidade que é esse esporte nos Estados Unidos, como estava crescendo bastante, como as pessoas que eu tive relacionamento dentro do evento, como elas sobrevivem bem, como elas vivem bem do jiu-jitsu aqui. Depois do Pan Kids, a gente foi em algumas academias para conhecer. A gente foi no Cobrinha, a gente foi no André Galvão, a gente foi até eu conhecer o Guilherme.
Of course, I knew who the Mendes brothers were, Professor Gui and Rafa. They had just won their 4th black belt world title. As a fan, I asked for a photo, and then I told them that I wanted to visit the academy. I remember I fought on Sunday. On Monday morning, I was there.
Hey, Hunter, get submission, let's go!
Get a first grip, let's go. Come inside, first grip.
AOJ got really popular right in the beginning because we were 2 brothers, like young world champions, still active competitors. Every young kid that was like winning competitions wanted to train with us. We built like a very strong kids team. A lot of kids would come from Brazil, like they do today, and train with us before the big competitions. And that's how I met Tainan first. He asked to take a photo in the competition. I still have the photo. My generation came always as a title collector, like we were always like trying to break records. It was around 2014 when I decided, I was like, this is gonna be the last one. Like we had AOJ already. I was like, I don't need to do that anymore. I never had a break, to be honest. Like I went from being a high-level competitor straight to being a high-level coach.
In my vision, like I accomplished like everything that I could accomplish. Like winning like more titles would not like change anything in my life. So I chose to redirect my goals and do something different. My vision is like to create like a new batch of champions like that people never saw before. Like group of juveniles that are gonna come and like win every division. In a couple years, like we're gonna be on top of all the tournaments.
Their kids program was unbelievable. It was just like, you would get like 60 high-level competitors, kids, from the age of 8 to 13 on the mat. And I was coming from an academy, I didn't even have a kid to train with. So I'm seeing 60 kids and I'm looking at these people, I'm just like, man, this is where I should be. This is where I have to be. It wasn't like I was doing wrong back home, but it was just like, this is what I was missing.
So when I start putting pressure on him, I'm like pretending I'm gonna pass to this side, and I see the hip movement, like he's open. Look how his leg gets far away from me. It's very different than having the knee right here. So his knee is gonna go below my knee,
and I'm gonna jump over. Okay, so it's like this. Like I'm here, and then as soon as he starts moving his hip, I jump over. Some people will prefer to start top spin, going over the head. Okay, so the decision you're gonna make after you hit the side is based on how you guys like to stabilize the position. Okay, let's try. 1, 2.
As athletes raise your level, I feel like Professor Gui raised his level as a coach and as a professor. You know, every year I see new things on him. I see new things that he's trying to implement in class, and I have a very close relationship with him, so we always talking to try to make that progression. You know, we're very tight, we're very close. I'm very grateful for him, and he's the person that has changed my life and has given me the tools and skills that I need to succeed.
I remember talking to him right in the beginning, and he was not the best student in the kids class. Like he was not the most talented, but he was very focused and he knew what he wanted. Like there was no doubt in his mind that he wanted to be a champion in the sport. And I think I felt that since the beginning. He was training in the academy, and after one of the sessions, like he came to me and he said, "Professor, can I talk to you?"
I told him everything that I wanted to do. I want to move to America. I want to be part of the team and not only accomplish things for myself, but I want to help the gym grow. I have the work ethic and I just need the opportunity.
How sure he was of his goals it changed everything. It changed the way I saw him. It made me respect him much more as an athlete. And I was like, oh, let's do it then.
6 meses depois a gente voltou, o Tainan ficou aqui junto, né? Eu acabei vindo e ficando com ele, porque o Tainan tinha 14 anos só, era uma criança praticamente. Até porque minha esposa ficou no Brasil, ela não iria deixar ele ficar no primeiro momento sozinho aqui.
Well, one day he just walks into the room and says like, well, I leave tomorrow. You have the option of going with me or staying. So I was just like, well, I came this far. I'm not just gonna go back home now.
His dad left then and he stayed.
And then from that moment on, it just became my priority. Jiu-jitsu became my life and became everything that I wanted to do.
You know, it was like a dream become true, you know. I always wanted to live here. I use like Professor Gui and Ralph as an example. Like they had a hard life in Brazil and then they moved here. Now they have one of the biggest academies in the world. My main goals, of course, are the competitions. I want to win as much as I can. I want to be one day like world champion, like, and see like people watching me and people think like, oh, I want to be like him. I want to make people from Jiu-Jitsu look at me as a good person, not as just a fighter, but as a good person, as a person that helps everybody. Not just people, but the Jiu-Jitsu, you know what I mean? Always improving, helping each other. I think that's what Jiu-Jitsu is.
He was living in a house, I think, with a old lady. I think she was renting a room, and he would ride the bike every day in the morning. And it was winter time. I remember like he would put like gloves and like he would a huge jacket and come with his bike to the academy. That's where like I start seeing like signs, like little signs of motivation, of like discipline. And I start supporting him more and more. I remember like giving a lot of feedback. The fact that the dad was not around and like he was always coming to me to ask for guidance, and it created a very strong bond since the beginning. It was like a little brother or like a son to me, like somebody that it's young and like I will do anything I can to make things happen for him.
Right away, I felt like I stuck to Professor Gui, and that was the best thing that I've probably done in my life. Just as having there as a mentor, he was like a father figure, a coach, a doctor, a mom, everything. He just became everything to me. And he started shaping my jiu-jitsu and also my mentality going into the sport.
Rafa, I think, is more that guy that's gonna tell you like the positions, like if you ask any question, he's gonna answer your question, also is gonna give some advice about the competition, you know what I mean? I think Gui is more like about like the mind training. He works the mind, he tells you what to do, like not just on the mat, but like off the mat. And like I can see the improvements, because now I have my mind just on this, like I don't do nothing else.
For me, I think it was really important because having this whole relationship with my brother, and I was always coaching him in the competitions too. And I remember like ADCC finals, black belt world finals, like being there and like creating strategies and celebrating or talking to him before a match. Whenever he stopped competing, I think like Tainan took the place that was empty, you know. I think Tainan was in the perfect time for this transition between like putting so much attention into my brother's career to now putting a lot of attention into my student career.
Round of 5, regular sparring. Ready? Go!
Tainan's a beast, bro. Tainan's a beast, man. I think he trains like more than 6 hours a day, plus he's studying all the time, so that's what makes him like one of the best, probably the best right now. It's one of the best gyms in the world. Everyone's world champions here, that's first. That's actually why I came here. Second, you have Professor Guy and Hafa, and obviously they're multiple-time world champions, so you have all these guys under them, and just so much knowledge here.
And they come train right now. We just did a straight 35-minute round. And in the end, Professor Guy did an extra 10-minute round in the middle where he was switching, putting with fresh people in the middle, which is fun. I feel like it pushes you to excel your jiu-jitsu, you know, just to that next level. Every year, we discover new things, you know, and we try to continue evolving the whole team. Jiu-jitsu is one-on-one type of competition, but when you step on the competition, when you're getting prepared, it's a teamwork.
When I came into the team in 2015, competitors were already super successful. You got kids that were like famous already on the mats, and you got kids that had sponsors, that had everything. So like that became my target.
I think it was a year of a lot of experience that first year. Like he learned a lot about himself. He came as a green belt to stay, and he competed like 2 or 3 competitions as a green belt under us. And then we had an opportunity to fight in Russia for the Berkut tournament. They wanted a blue belt, Juvenile, to compete. And I remember that Tainan was a green belt, and they had a Russian kid that was a blue belt. And we were like, oh, let's just send Tainan.
Tainan pulls guard right away with double grips on the collar. Looks to sweep.
It's a very good collar drag there. What a shot.
Wow. Tainan relentless on these attacks, but Talib is doing a great job at just defending.
He's in trouble.
Oh man.
He's on.
He's in trouble.
He's on. He's on. He's on. He's got it.
He was able to submit the kid, and then when he came back, we officially promoted him to blue belt.
In 2016, that's when I really came into the big picture. It's when I started competing in the major tournaments. My first Worlds, I'm in the bullpen, I'm about to compete. Back then, the juveniles would compete same day as the black belts. So we would share same mats, and Professor Guy was watch the black belts, see how they behave themselves, see and size them up, because in a couple of years, that's people that are going to compete against.
When you are in the bullpen and you are competing against the blue belts, I think it's important that you imagine yourself in the black belt division. Try to think about what division you're gonna be and what level those guys are and what's missing. Because in the end of the day, the belt doesn't mean anything. The only thing that changes is like the experience that you have and how good you are.
Then I started to really do those type of things. I started to study those people. And that's what going into the pyramid as a juvenile, 1, 2, purple belt, brown belt really became for me. It became a place where I would visualize myself in the black belt, competing at the highest level. And to me, it became like a library where I would go in and just study these people, just study how they behave, study their approach to the game and how serious they were.
I think the blue belt was really important for him because he was lucky enough to have a tough division. Both years, like the Juvenile 1 and 2 were like filled with tough matches. And he did really good. Like he won Worlds in the Juvenile 1 and Juvenile 2 after that first blue belt world title. I think he just like figured out like what to do and like what kind of mentality he needed to have, because he only got better after that.
In the second year, I ended up fighting Andy in my finals match. My division lost to Andy, and that put me in a different mentality. It's just like, I have to make this happen now. So then in the open class, I came back and I had one of the toughest divisions in the open class. I had like Josh Cisneros, I had Miriam Alves in my first round. I had Andy to compete against. So I had so many good names that I had to fight back to back to back. But like, that's what I prepared for, right? And after you win such a hard division like that, you're just like, you put me into a different level. And then next year was when I was able to double gold. Out of 9 or 10 matches, I submitted like eight of them. And then of course, I got promoted in the podium by Professor Guy and to a purple belt, and I felt like it was a great day for me and for everybody that has been supporting me.
Today was just showing off our work, so our work pays off. That's what our professor tells us every day. We'll see what happens next, but I'm sure we're gonna train a lot and then try to accomplish the same thing in the next belt.
So the year's been going great. I won, I think 3 major tournaments. I just didn't fight Brasileiros. I was fighting back to back many times. And if I didn't get a little break of competitions and focus on the training, I don't think maybe, you know, I will have a good results at Worlds. And I didn't want to be stressed, you know, and just fighting back to back sometimes can be stressful, you know. So I think for this last month, I just stopped and then I came back to the cave and then, you know, and just kept sharpening my technique to be at my best at Worlds.
I think the training now is just a mental preparation for that day. You know, like make it very intense, make it difficult for them, so like when they get there, they don't shut down.
At purple belt, I think he had his biggest task, and I think like what showed me how much he wants to be a champion. He won Europeans, he won like many Opens, and then he won Pan Ams, and then he was competing at Worlds. He was winning all the matches. Like he beat everybody in the division before, so it was. I was confident he was going to win. He was confident he was going to win. It was just another competition, and he started feeling bad, like in the 3rd match.
I felt like that day, from the moment I woke up, everything did not go my way. I remember I was expected to fight like at noon. My bracket didn't even start it. The person I was going to compete in the finals was already in the finals. I felt like I just let that get into my head too much. My performance weren't as good as I wanted to, so I was just kind of like constantly battling my own mind, constantly battling myself.
I was like, I just ignore it and keep pushing. If you have like 1 or 2 more fights against people that you beat before. He won the semifinals, then he went to the finals.
Going in, I'm supposed to like dominate this person. I beat the person already 3 times before. It wasn't even that hard of a match.
In the finals, I saw that he was fighting in a way that he normally doesn't fight.
I was in a 50-50 position. There's like a final minute in the fight, and I'm trying to find my way to get on top and finish the sweep. My opponent is holding on to like a full lock to make sure he maintains the position on top. As I'm trying to reach for the sweep, I'm giving like a knee bar positioning to it. Well, you're not allowed to do a knee bar as a purple belt level, but like I did not care. I was just like, I'm gonna go with everything because that's all I got right now, and there's 1 minute left. I'm gonna make this happen. And then he applied the pressure. After that happened, like I couldn't do anything in the match anymore. I was just like waiting for the match really to end.
When it ended, I saw that his knee was compromised, like he was like feeling his knee.
And then ends referee decision. And then I couldn't even stand up after that.
A gente estava no Brasil acompanhando ao vivo pelo FloGrappling e a gente viu toda a cena, atendimento no tatame, depois mandaram fotos, ele saiu de ambulância, foi uma cena bem ruim assim, né, para os pais que não estavam perto.
I just remember being carried by the doctors and by the medical people that were there, and then taken off on the ambulance and then to the hospital. I torn my ligaments on my knee. That was one of the hardest things that happened in my career.
He went to check his knee and he had like a very severe like knee injury. He almost had to go through surgery. Like we did everything that we could to avoid surgery. He had to sit on the side and watch the class for months.
You're limited from doing what you love the most. And when you're in a run like this, you're seeing the final destination, you're seeing the line, and then you're limited from going it. And you have to step away from continuing improving it. And to me, that was the hardest thing. And of course, there's this thoughts on surgery and 6 months out, a year out, 18 months. Well, you then becomes like doubts on your head. Then you see everybody progressing. You see that you're leading this race, now you're not leading anymore.
The mental part is like the hardest part because now you're watching somebody dominate the division and it's gonna put in your mind that maybe that person is better than you or that person deserves to be there.
When you're dealing with those hard moments, it's when you really get to know yourself. Up until then, everything was happening so great in my life. I was winning tournaments, I was being recognized. When I got injured, that was my whole focus, is how can I get back to where I was? And how can I get back as quickly as possible? I knew I had to do different. I knew there's things in my life that had to change. So we went into a new challenge. We went into discovering a new Tainan Dalpra. That injury just pushed me into become even better and even more professional.
So right here, I'm preparing my supplements. I get everything ready into many different bottles. I pack them in my bag, and then just throughout the day, this is what my nutritionist takes care of. She writes down everything that I need to drink and eat throughout my day, and just to make sure I recover and my body is well taken care of. I put a lot of time and money into it, but it's important, right? It's what brings, at the end of the day, it's what brings everything that I have into my life.
Well, right now it's 10 a.m. We just finished the morning sessions with Jiu-jitsu, and I'm about to do my recovery sessions. This is like next level stuff. Like you guys are gonna see like some future stuff in there.
Ready for some compression?
Yeah, I'll start with compression.
Okay, awesome.
So this is compression boots and sleeves.
You wanna throw the arms in too?
Yeah, they're gonna be straight out like this.
So what happens is that it keeps like it stops your blood circulation by squeezing it, and then it releases slowly, so it increases the blood circulation once you release it, speeding up your recovery. That's what you want to get on those muscles after such a hard session.
So for somebody like Kane, every time he goes on the mat, he's giving 100%. I think it's very important that you focus a lot on every aspect of the mat too. When you're at this level, you are a professional. Like everything matters, like the training, like the mental, like who you surround yourself with, the nutrition, like the recovery.
Fazer cry, velho?
before he goes in, we're gonna take his like pre-sub-zero temperature. The goal is to drop his body temperature down 30 degrees. So then we'll check his temperature again once he gets out. It's at a negative 140 degrees in there right now, but this is equivalent to like icing your body up to like 8 hours, just in 3 minutes.
When I'm in there, think about my way out of there. No, it just puts you in a good mental state, you know. It's freezing, but it's what I have to do.
How was it? Cold, huh? Let me check your temp. You're at 89, you dropped down to 66. That's pretty good.
How's it feel, Tainan?
Cold, freezing.
It's the last like minute, that's the worst. Okay, you can hop into here.
Now it feels good. I'm getting warm. Not many people have access to this type of things, you know, so
I'm really blessed to be able to do it, and I feel great. Feel like I'm better than ever, really. It's good to be in this position. It's good to be where I am at.
Every second, it's in a mission towards being the best.
It's kind of funny though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Your best chance to beat him, brother.
Let's go right here. Let's bug my wife a little bit. This is where she makes her her magic. I eat literally like the same food every day. I have to weight my food down and all that. You know, so I'm very strict with following my diet. As you guys could see, I'm always either eating or getting supplement in. So I feel like this a lot of times gives me the advantage over my opponents, and could be a mental thing. It could be an actual physical thing that it's actually working, but I feel like I gotta be disciplined. All the speculation was to come back, you know, within 6 months to even step on the mats, 12 months to competition, and then 18 months to where I left off. Within 2 months, I was already back on the mats.
At first, like, he would sit on the bench. Every single session, he would sit on the bench and watch. And then after a while, like, he would put the knee brace, put the gi on, and be on the mat, but not train. I felt that whole time sitting and watch made him angry with that situation, and he used all that energy to become who he is.
All day from 7 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m., it was just work time. I did a whole preparation to get back into rehab, and then I did a whole preparation to get back to workout and get back on shape. And as I'm doing this, I wasn't able to do jiu-jitsu yet. My whole summer was just dedicated into get back to my sport, get back to my craft, and stay studying the game.
He recovered from the injury, it took months, and then I waited until he was back on the mat to promote him to brown. The first competition after his injury was Europeans.
I was out for 8 weeks, I believe. There was a lot of doubts me coming to this, if my knee would be better, you know, how would I feel it. I had a really good, strong team and friends behind me that supported me and kept me positive. I felt like it wasn't really a setback, but it was like more like a lesson for me. Conquer yourself and you can conquer anything. That's what I really believed. Here we are, 2020, brown belt, middleweight, European champion.
He was a completely different person, like much better than he was before. It was incredible to watch.
I fought Europeans, I came back, I fought who's number one in the gi.
Immediately Tainan Dalpra on the attack, spinning, rolling, and looks like he almost has that choke set. He goes deep to the one arm rear naked, and there is the finish, there is the tap. Beautiful finish by Tainan Dalpra.
I fought a couple opens, and I'm signed to do Pan Ams, and COVID comes in the week before Pans. The whole team was ready and prepared, and then COVID kicks in. You're not sure what's gonna happen. Pan Ams gets canceled. We were kind of surprised, really.
It was like a hard moment for any person that has like a plans in their life and they're like trying to fulfill those plans. Some of the students, they stop training or like they kind of like relax a little bit and like be a regular person. But Tainan and some of the other guys took it like personal. They were upset with the situation that was happening, that they could not go there and show their work in the competitions. They just spent all their energy like training and getting better.
And so we're trying to do that as safe as possible, but at the same time, we're trying to keep our careers going, where we weren't going to pause it for anything.
The academy was closed, but we were opening the academy and going there and like training with closed doors, like just like some of us.
You know, so the group that we had was 4 or 5 people. We were together 24/7. We're gonna keep everybody together, everybody tight, and we're gonna continue to push new levels of Jiu-jitsu every day. That's where the pandemic was really about.
They announced that the competitions would be back, and we could not wait for that.
All the academies were having a really hard time. I've seen many academies that they had to close down. You know, we're all trying to live a dream, trying to live off Jiu-Jitsu. So now seeing IBJJF being back and, you know, the major tournaments are coming back as well. So I'm just happy.
All this time, like without competing, was not good for us. But like here we are, like we're back. Let's try to like win everything now.
First tournament announced after the whole COVID was Pan Am's. I go into the compete again, middleweight division, the same drive, the same mentality, the same redemption year, but now even harder because you're not only fighting for yourself, you're fighting for the sport.
The brown belt career was very short because like he was not having any kind of competition. Like he was running through people like one by one. He won every competition. He won the brown belt Pan Am's, and then I promoted him to black on the podium. I felt that he had the level to be a black belt already. I'm not gonna hold him one more year in the brown belt.
How does it feel?
Thank you. Man, it feels good. I've been waiting for this moment all my life, you know, since I was a juvenile, and, you know, Professor Guy really put those dreams and hope on me, and I'm just happy that I can make my team proud and happy for this moment, yeah.
Three, only one person going. 2, 1, and go, under, over. Stop right there. Try to use this arm over here to hug his leg and push his knee. If I don't disconnect his hand from my shoulder, I can never go under the arm. So that's why I gotta go 1, pull, and then I go under. Understand?
Man, he's just as good of a teacher as he is a competitor, maybe even better. Has a really good program here at AOJ with the 6 a.m. class. You've seen this class getting bigger and bigger every year, and now you're averaging like 60, 70 people on the mat, and it's one of the biggest classes here, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
Oh, nice bunt. Stay heavy, stay heavy. Patience. It's hard to move around, too many people.
He's a really good guy. He's really, really structured. So he's a good professor too, and I really appreciate to enjoy his class.
Like I said, I gotta disconnect first. Okay, so I gotta go 1, and then I'm gonna go under.
I feel like Tainan does really good explaining like the step-by-step and how to actually explain the position. And Professor Guy does a really good job of more just, I guess, underlining the scenario and explaining what's going on in the situation. So that's why I go to both their classes.
Oh yes, I like this, I like this. Okay. Well, 80 people, 6 a.m.? Nowhere in the world like this. Guys, great training. Let's go ahead, let's bow.
For me, it was always black belt mentality since day one. So you're a green belt, you're a blue belt juvenile, you gotta act like a black belt world champion. By the time he got to the black belt, he was a black belt world champion.
My first goal was to rise to the top 3 of the division, middleweight, right away. I was going to compete every tournament and compete with as many people as possible in the middleweight division just to build my name. This is where it starts. Everything that I've done before this was fun, It was all preparation for this. Now it starts. And from the first open that I started competing, he just kind of took off.
He competed some of the opens and like he started like destroying everybody. I felt that I was surprised every competition because to me, like it was like, where's the limit for this kid?
You know, I started doing my first opens, then I started doing my first major tournaments, and then by the end of the year, they announced that they're gonna have Worlds in December. My first Worlds as a black belt arrived. Was the first time I'm competing against everybody, all the highest names in the black belt in one division.
So when we looked into the competitor list, there were only 3 or 4 names that he had not beat in the past. When the brackets came out, it was mind-blowing because every person that he had to compete on his side of the bracket were the people that he did not compete against. But he was confident that he was going to win.
Big match here. 2 action-packed athletes. Obviously, we know Ronaldo is the human highlight reel, and Tainan just looking so dominant this entire tournament.
I really think Ronaldo is a dangerous opponent. He's strong and he's tall for the division, but he moves a lot. It makes it hard for you to hold him in any kind of superior position that you try to get. The match was what I was expecting. Tainan was able to impose his game and was able to apply the techniques. He didn't get to the submission, but he dominated the match.
Does extend the leg and come out.
Beautiful use, kicking out the leg. And puts Ronaldo down. Ronaldo fighting hard not to concede the sweep, but Tainan now is going to put on the pressure.
That was a very hard fought 2. It almost wasn't a 2.
This time, that sweep was a lot easier.
Incredible. Just sat him right down.
Oh, nice use of the foot to kick out the supporting leg.
Wow.
And drives through with a double to finish. Tainan Dalpra, man, so good.
Amazing work. So we will see Tainan Dalpra versus Tommy Langekert in the semifinals of the middleweight division.
The semifinals was against Tommy. Different scenario because I knew Tommy a lot, not only his technique, but I coached him when he was training at AOJ, so he stayed there for a couple years. I think Tommy is a very dangerous opponent as well. He's very aggressive and submission-oriented, so it's always tricky to fight people like this because it doesn't matter how well you're doing with your positions, they can find a submission out of nowhere.
Intriguing to see this clash of styles because Tainan's so methodical. Tommy loves the chaos.
That still is one of my favorite matches because it showed like Tainan's evolution, not only as a black belt, but during the match.
Just got some space and comes up for 2.
Tommy gets the reversal, and now kind of hard to describe what kind of sweep that was because, like I said, Tommy thrives in the chaos. He loves these interesting positions.
Big
and coming out of the back.
take attempt.
Langak has got an arm around the neck. He's going for the choke here.
He still has that leg in front too.
Oh, Tainan escapes. But that was a real submission right there for a moment.
You can see the person slowly becoming more and more comfortable and aware of his level in that match. He started very careful, and then he ended the match just completely confident.
And look at this, Tainan getting closer now. Tainan opens the guard, gets around. Scores the advantage for the back take, and this is the difference. You see, tight back control. One hook in, hand on the collar. Second hook goes in. 4 points on the board for Tainan Dalpra. Tainan closes now with more of a body triangle grip, and he's on the neck. He's dropping off for the choke here. We could see the finish. It's looking tight. Tainan Dalpra with the choke from the back. Incredible submission there for Tainan Dalpra in that middleweight semi-final match. And believe it or not, this rookie black belt makes the finals of his first World Championships as a black belt. Got the back, got the choke, got the win.
I knew that when I was in the bracket with Isaac that most likely I was gonna end up in the finals with him. Isaac wasn't having a good run, but he was fighting people that I had fought that year and that I had submitted, and he was having tough matches with them. So I was really confident going into the match.
I think Izaki, like, it's what everybody says. Like, he is a person that he plays with strategy. He starts the match strong, and he tends to hold the result. The main concern for me was, like, don't let this guy get ahead.
Tainan puts 2 points on the board there. But Izaki, of course, in a great position to sweep back.
Tainan, in that match, is one of the matches that he doesn't like because he compromised, like, his jiu-jitsu.
This is where Izaki needs to try to create something. Let's see if he can get his other leg in there. There we go, back and forth. And back again. This is where I wish it would just open up.
Really, that is the key to victory. You know, Izaki's doing what he can to remove that lapel grip, but he can't go anywhere until that is gone.
Yeah, this kind of match is super frustrating, man. But it's part of the game, strategy.
Winning every competition, it's one thing. Being in the finals of a world title in the black belt division is a totally different story. If you win, you're a black belt world champion. If you lose, it's nothing.
We were in the 50-50 for a long time. Whenever I had the opportunity in the final minutes of the match, I was able to make an attack on the back.
Ooh, with a little bit of a side knee twist action.
Tainan does not seem to like the pressure there on the foot.
This could do it. Just don't get swept. Don't get swept. Here we go. Put your knees on the line.
20 seconds now. Isaac hard, hips down to the floor again.
It's, oh no.
Okay, now look at this. 9 seconds left. Referee has stopped the action.
Did he get an advantage for the ankle lock ever?
Nothing's been awarded yet. Crowd is going wild. We see.
He got that. Oh, okay. Gave 2 points.
We're going out of
I don't know.
bounds.
To me, it's hard to say because Tainan was running forward. He was kind of doing a good defense. I don't necessarily think he meant to go out of bounds, but they felt like he was fleeing the mat, so 2 points were called.
I got up to the hip control. I had an attack in the back. He ran out of bounds, and they gave me 2 points for that, negative point for him. You know, you got to win performance sometimes, and sometimes you have to just win at all costs.
Tainan Dalpra, in his very first year, for a black belt world champion.
When my match ended and I was the champion, it was just like unbelievable feeling. I couldn't get a hold of my own emotions.
Near perfect season. He only lost one match this whole year, and one where it mattered most.
When you get your hand raised, it's like a lot of weight comes off your shoulder. He reminded himself of like all those moments of training, the injury, and like starting as a kid and like staying away from the parents.
All those emotions just really came off me because all those sacrifices I made, and my dad was there.
Quando ele chegou em mim, ele olhou para mim e falou que se eu conseguir, falei para ti que ia conseguir. Eu peguei e falei para ele, assim, eu não tinha dúvida disso. A gente se abraçou, a gente ficou um pouco emocionado. Muito prazeroso estar ali, né, naquele momento, e ver como ele é querido pelos alunos, pelos parceiros de treino, porque todo mundo ficou contente, todo mundo ficou feliz.
2021 male middleweight champion, representing Art of Jiu-jitsu, Tainan Dalpra.
I can't thank enough this guy, my team.
everybody that came out is just, when I first met Professor here, I was like 12 years old and no talent, nothing, just
In third place,
he believed in me.
Jiu-jitsu.
He told me that I was gonna be the next black belt world champion.
It's a huge achievement for me. Like I feel like really emotional right now. I got won like 4 world titles in the black belt, and I never felt like I was crying. And like watching him winning, like was I think it was my proudest moment in jiu-jitsu so far.
We prepared all these things in my career. We set plans for all of it. But when you are there, you're at that moment, you're living it. It's unbelievable.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at the 2022 IBJJF World Championship. And Tainan Dalpra is about to go against Andy Murasaki.
The second world title, the approach was much easier, to be honest, because he knew he belonged there, and he had the protective instinct of like somebody wants to steal what's mine, and I gotta show them that this is where I belong.
And Tainan Dalpra just stalking down, walking very slowly, methodically to shake the referee's hand.
Tainan has been, for a while now, the one to beat in the middleweight division.
Big start. With the 2 points right off the bat. Big start. Tainan Dalpra up on a sweep. This is where we see Tainan Dalpra shine. That is a secure guard pass for Tainan Dalpra.
And look at that shoulder pressure, my God. Another guard pass with 3 points on the board.
Looking for the Kanto choke here.
Yeah, this is tight here.
This is looking like it's gonna be it. Tainan Dalpra once again wins a black belt world championship.
Well, I'm only warming up, so this is just the beginning. Maybe one day I'll be in the Hall of Fame like these guys.
Now that I've collected those, it's just time to continue adding performance on top of performance. That's what I'm really driven to do right now. My next coming years are gonna be even better. I'm going to cement my name as probably the greatest middleweight of all time.
I think the way Tainan sees himself and his path is very similar to what happened to me and my brother. He is building this credibility as a champion. At the same time, he has been developing skills off the mat that will empower him to become a leader. Once you have leadership skills, then it's just a matter of you choosing where you want to apply it.
This is the 5 to 7 program, a program that we invest a lot because all the champions that we've built so far, they all started here. Level 3 is the group that I usually stay with, the competitors. Those are 5 to 7-year-olds. They're literally black belts, just wearing gray belts. This is half a sun right here on the bottom. You guys will see these faces in a couple years at the top on the podium, winning many world titles. This is a big role that I take for myself, is to continue pushing the next generation and continue evolving the sport. You know, that's how I can give back.
I like the program a lot, and I feel like I have a lot of opportunity to grow here. And I'm getting taught by the best professors in the world. I really got to know Tainan more, especially when he became black belt. He's a good friend, he's funny, he's cool. And I feel like he's a great mentor for like the younger generation, like all the kids at AOJ. He's showing us that you can become a black belt world champion as long as you stay dedicated. I think, especially because I'm an orange belt now, I can start to see myself like competing like with the black belts. I try to visualize myself competing with them, and he helps a lot with that because that's where he started. Came to AOJ as an orange belt, and now he's a multiple-time black belt world champion.
The plans that I've set from the beginning, they're very high. And of course, I had to live off like high standards. That's what I am, that's what being part of AOJ now it is. I have to make sure that every day when I show up to the gym to train, that I set that example, that I give my very best every day, even on my worst days, because
People are looking up to me now. I'm an example now. Never pictured being this way, but I feel very blessed. I live in a good place. You know, I'm in America. I'm living really the dream. I have a great family. I have a great wife that supports me on everything that I do. Big part of who I am today. I'm able to provide good life for her, for my parents, my dad. Every month or two, he's here with me, and he's been able to watch my career.
Costumo falar para o pessoal que medalha de ouro é importante, mas para mim é um extra. Hoje, pelo fato de eu morar no Brasil, eu acompanho bastante gente que é do meio do esporte. Eu vejo como o Tainan é um rapaz assim que ele inspira muita gente no Brasil.
Tainan is an amazing competitor, so I don't have words to describe this moment, but I'm very happy.
Eu acho muito bacana, muito legal o carinho que ele recebe com o pessoal, com o público do Brasil, assim, principalmente da nossa cidade, né? Então isso é uma coisa que deixa tanto eu como a minha esposa bem orgulhosos, né?
He was a dreamer, like he was a kid that wanted to be a black belt world champion, that wanted to be a professional athlete, that had the dream of like provide for his family and being a star in the sport. I got to experience it happening every year, like getting closer and closer, and I still see that happening. I know that he's not even close to where he is going to be in the future.
If I got this far, I can go even further. I don't even feel like I'm on my prime yet. I still got a long ways to go. So I look forward to the next coming years, and I'm sure in the end of it, it's going to be a beautiful story to tell.